Hello my friends, this is crazy. This is the Russian LNG tanker, sanctioned one, that was hit yesterday in Mediterranean. On the side you might see a huge gigantic hole, and it is not an AI. Definitely it was hit just yesterday, nighttime. And again, it's not an oil tanker, it's LNG ship that is transporting liquid natural gas. And this is not a sunrise. This photo was taken from another ship in this area. The Russian LNG tanker is burning. It was carrying gas worth $60 million at least.
It's still going.
So it was filmed yesterday evening. Indeed, there was a huge fire and this vessel is totally disabled. Later on, fire spread all across the vessel and it was finally destroyed. I guess it was hit by a drone boat. I'm not sure, but it seems like this huge hole could appear maybe because of the explosion of the LNG tanker, or maybe it was a drone strike. I wonder how it is still floating there. On the drone photo we may see a gas carrier Arctic Meta gas, which was attacked in Mediterranean Sea yesterday. A clear breach in the hull is visible. This confirms the version that it was struck by a surface drone, by the drone boat, yeah? So military news UA also has this variant, this version, but it's still early to say. I think it was a drone boat after all. Arctic Meta gas of the Russian Shadow fleet was hit near the coast of Libya. Well, it's not the first time that Russian ships are being targeted in Mediterranean. Before, an oil tanker obtained several of the damages because of the drone drops. Well, I just guessed that the drones were launched by Ukrainian side from some other ship located near to that oil tanker. But here, the scale is, I would say, even bigger, because judging on those photos from the drone, the LNG tanker is no more. It should be decommissioned if it stays floating. An absolute fantastic news, I would say. There was a very long break in those strikes on the Russian tankers, and it is the first hit on LNG, by the way. I think Ukraine decided to act right now. Then United States and other allies, they're too busy in Middle East. And I guess after all, it was the United States of America that told Zelensky and Ukraine not to escalate hitting Russian tankers. Well, if Trump himself might escalate in Middle East, I think Ukraine also keeps that right. It was kind of the big vessel, so before and after. I like more image after than before. Yes, Russians are saying that those were Ukrainian drone boats which hit Arctic Meta gas. It was reported by Mintrans, that's the Ministry of Transport of the Russian Federation. An accident happened yesterday. The vessel had all of the documents, yeah, that's what they usually say, and it went from Murmansk. They came from the place not far away from Libya, near Malta. All 30 crew members, Russian citizens, are saved. Well, I guess maybe, but they also say that crew members are saved for Moscow ship. And I see why this vessel is still floating and not sinking down, because here and here bulkheads are not allowing water to go to the other areas and basically flood this LNG tanker completely. But I think that the repair of the ship doesn't worth it. Absolutely. It totally burned down and basically it's useless. Just scrap metal. And the Russian military bloggers are in shock that they've lost their LNG tanker. Well, it seems like it's not just a vessel loss, but also reputational harm for Russia. And Z channels, they're calling for Putin to act. But how would Putin act? What he may use against Ukraine that he hasn't used before? Nuclear weapons? But come on, China is against it and Russia is very, very, very dependent on China. At least because of that, I'm quite skeptical that Russia may use some of the nukes. I don't think so. Also, judging on what we know about Putin, yes, of course, we cannot drill into his box and understand how he thinks, but his strategy was just bluffing, and Ukraine crossed red lines lots of the times, numerous of the times, and Russian military bloggers, they are shocked about it. You draw those red lines, but later on they disappear and nothing happened. And no reaction absolutely is happening from the Russian side. Pfah, nothing. And you might remember the recent Ukrainian strike on the Russian Novorossiysk port. Allegedly, if we trust some of the Russian military channels, they say that several of the ships were damaged, military ships. According to the information published by the source Dossier Шпиона, those reports are usually confirmed later. A massive strike which targeted the port infrastructure of Novorossiysk at nighttime March the 1st and the 2nd, 2026, 5 military vessels in the harbor reportedly sustained damages. One ship is said to have been seriously damaged, likely the minesweeper Valentin Pikul. Damage was also reported to the ships Yeysk and Kasimov. Preliminary reports mention 3 servicemen unalived and 16 wounded. Russian air defense units estimate that at least 200 strike UAVs were used in the attack, which makes it probably the most massive one on particular spot, a single one, Novorossiysk port. So not just an oil infrastructure was damaged, but also some of the Navy ships which are located in Novorossiysk, and many of them were taken by Russia from Crimea. Russians thought that in Crimea it's kind of dangerous for their navy to be placed, but in Novorossiysk it's the same. Yeah, we also have this report from Z-bloggers that a massive strike on infrastructure in Novorossiysk, March the 2nd. Blogger reports about 3 dead and 16 injured personnel, military personnel. So Ukraine knows what to hit: a Russian shadow oil fleet, Russian port infrastructure, Russian vessels, and Russian military. The situation in the Middle East actually, for now, plays in favor of Russia because the oil prices, they are going up, but still Russia for now is in deficit because the price of the Russian Urals brand is still a little lower than the forecast for this year. So yeah, we have those ships, at least images before. I'm still waiting for the satellite images, or maybe some eyewitness may film it, but Russian military bloggers, they confirm kind of the terrible situation for them. So this one is in Russian, Dossier Шпиона. Well, this is not the Russian channel itself, but they refer to opinion of the Russian military bloggers. So yeah, kind of the bad day for the Russian Navy, for the Russian LNG tankers, and maybe for the Russian army even on the front lines. Well, before we go to military map update, my friends, I want to shout out to the sponsor of today's video, and it is you. It is you. Because of you, I'm here and you are making my job possible. So thank you guys so much for your likes, subscriptions. And by the way, yeah, if you are watching me right now, and I know that you are watching, please press your like. And if you haven't been subscribed for this channel, please subscribe. It is for free. And separate shout out to sponsors of my channel members, and also Patreon supporters. Guys, without you, I wouldn't be able to film those videos every day. Thank you for employing me for this mission. You're just awesome. Let's continue. Right guys, now about the front lines. This update comes from Mayakovsk Osint, where he mentions that Ukraine continue its counteroffensive in the northern side of Dnipropetrovsk Oblast. Meanwhile, Russians are moving with a small infiltration attack towards Rizdivanivka. Yesterday we already had this confirmation. Today Russia put several more flags. Is it something outstanding? I wouldn't say so, just a standard Russian infiltration operation. There were many of those before, and usually they end not so good for the Russian soldiers. So Gerasimov probably will draw something like that, at least on his military official maps, if he hasn't yet done it. But de facto we know how those attacks of the Russian army usually end. The thing that Ukraine also before went on a counteroffensive from Dobropilya, but now if Russia goes from Dobropilya the same direction, it means that there is no concentration of Ukrainian armed forces. So Russia attacks from the south towards east, and Ukraine attacks from the northern part. That's the current situation. We have what we have. I just want to check out. So Russians are publishing videos with them, with those flags, in the settlement. Some of the Russian soldier on the camera says that they've took this village. Who is this guy? Did he take part in this attack? Absolutely not. This video was filmed by Zvezda News. It's the standard Russian propaganda channel. The only thing that those Russians were backed up by lots of the FPV drones. That makes this attack unusual. There were 2 of the Russian soldiers at least, and lots of the drones. But Ukraine also has many drones, so we'll see for how long they're gonna stay there. Yeah, here Russia started to use drones more than usual. Probably they sent some of the capable brigades, maybe even Rubicon, and they also hit Ukrainian logistics far behind the front lines. I think those are pickup trucks, but let's cross-check. Yeah, some of the pickup, it was chased and hit by the Russian drone. Plus some of the dugout of Ukrainian army. But not just Russia is using the drones against Ukrainian forces, of course. Our guys are even more effective. This is the GoPro video of the Russian soldier. They are driving in Bukhanka.
Это чья?
Here's the drone. Sorry guys, I cannot show you the moment of impact, but probably with the screenshot. Yeah, this is the drone, Bukhanka, soldier. And there was a kaboom. The soldier jumped from Bukhanka straight away. Plus Ukraine continued to flatline Russian air defense systems. This one, it is an advanced one, S-400, that was cancelled in Belgorod region, Russian Federation, Russian territory. One radar, 2 launchers, everything of that was chased and hit. With some of the drone drops, as we might see on this video, a very precise long-range operation of Ukrainian Lazars group. It is one of the most effective Ukrainian drone units. Yeah, of course, vehicles are gone for Russia, not just vehicles, but very sophisticated, as I mentioned you, systems. Russia lost so many S-400, so many S-300 and many more. I guess they really struggle with those losses on the Russian territory, on the occupied territory of Ukraine, and they start to panic. And then they panic, they shut down own aircraft, like it happened also today. Russians shut down Kamov-52 attack helicopter. About helicopter, we got those news from the Russian Z military channels, and also this video was shared yesterday. Boy looks and says, "Oh, it looks like the helicopter blown up in the skies." Well, from this camera it's hard to tell, but our human eyes, they see everything in more details. Especially at night that there are some of the lights, the small camera sensor just cannot tell us detailed picture. So they're panicking, but helicopter is no go. It felt, as they say, alright. Shit happens. Well, about the type of the helicopter, some sources say that it was Mi-8 after all, but different military bloggers, Russian ones, continue to tell that it was Kamov-52. And by the way, about the friendly fire, you know that in Kuwait 2 days ago, United States lost 3 of the fighter jets, F-15s, and they were shot down by Fa-18 of Kuwaiti Air Force. Yes, it was miscoordination, miscommunication between allies in the region. Sadly, but luckily all pilots are, I wouldn't say okay, because some of them were injured, but at least they're alive. And we have the official report about this case. It was a friendly fire incident in Kuwait. United States Air Force fighter jets were mistakenly shot down by Kuwaiti air defense, but this air defense was Fa-18 fighter jet.
Схоже, ці троє заблукали.
Okay, some of the videos, guys, I cannot show you here because they involve infantry attacks of the Russian army. I'm sorry, but it was one more infiltration attempt of the Russian army to move to some of the small village. They carried some of the flags, of course weapons, and Ukraine just did the proper job as usual with the drones. Well, Russians had the chance to surrender, but they didn't use it. But some of the Russians, they do surrender. Like, for example, it happened in Dobropilya direction. In Novy Donbass, they tried to reach Dobropilya for whatever reason. They failed multiple in their advancements towards Dobropilya settlement. Well, they were just captured by Ukrainian army. The most active direction now is Konstantinivka, but for the last 24 hours, I don't see... Oh, actually, Russia lost one vehicle here. It's the new one. Yeah, it's been published 18 hours ago. Russians went with a convoy, I guess, or at least one vehicle, Hunger type. As we see, Russians evacuated from this one, the door is open, but the vehicle was later on finished. Very precise job by Ukrainian drone operators. Well, it's kind of rare after all that Russia is using those vehicles to protect own infantry. They had lots of those convoys, I would say, a couple of months ago, and they lost hundreds of the vehicles, especially in this Dobropilya direction, also in Pokrovsk. But later on, Gerasimov decided to lay off this very efficient Russian commander who perished lots of the Russian infantry plus vehicles. Maybe after all, Russians were dissatisfied with his command, but there is no, I would say, chance for a breakthrough for the Russian army. They're trying to figure out how they might advance, as they did the last year, but nothing is happening, basically because Ukraine created this kill zone. 7 million drones are planned to be produced in Ukraine just this year. This number is crazy. Back in 2023, the number of 1 million drones sounded like unreal, but this year 7 million, and no one is surprised about it any longer, and it is great. Ukraine evolves, Ukraine stops Russian assaults, and Russians simply cannot reach their goals of the special military operation. And here we see how this particular vehicle that I showed you before was stopped initially. So it was a remote mining. Ukraine dropped several of the mines, and here we go. Yes, it was stopped. Later on it got fire, but was not destroyed completely and was finished later on with FPV. About the Russian infantry, well, as you saw, the door was open, so maybe most of them left this one. But I'm not sure. The place is geolocated at the entrance towards Konstantinivka. Mines were placed by a vampire drone, which is also called Baba Yaga. As for the other hotspots of the front lines, everything is more or less stable. Ukraine tries to counterattack in the village of Dovbusheve. Yeah, that's the Liman direction. I wonder whether Ukraine is successful here, but recently Russia moved with this gray zone. And Liman, unfortunately, yeah, the situation there is not good because supplies were cut for Ukraine, as I mentioned already several of the times. But Russia continued to hit Ukrainian civilian trains. This is the carriage. It was attacked today where it happened, in Mykolaiv Oblast, Ukraine. So this is the train. It is some sort of the station. Yeah, exactly. Mykolaiv city, Russians used drones. Kind of strange because before they used Starlink mini antennas on Molnia drones also to hit Ukrainian trains. I wonder how they were capable to control the drone this time, because Mykolaiv is not that close to the front lines. As a variant, they could have launched another drone to retransmit the standard radio signal. Wait. What is this? This is a looted drone flying somewhere deep inside Russia. Kirovochepetsk, 1,000+ kilometers away from Ukrainian border, Ukrainian looted kamikaze drone attacked chemical plant. Well, there were two of the strikes. We'll see, yeah?
Ёбаное дело, летит еще один нахуй.
They say летит еще один, so one more flies. And we see that the smoke is coming from this facility. I'm gonna switch the volume off, because they're using this slur language. I don't want this video to be really restricted. Something was definitely hit there, and they confirmed that this drone also hit the facility and the black smoke is coming. Well, Russians, even 1,000 kilometers away from Ukraine, you experience some of the thing called a special military operation, right? By the way, Donny called his war special combat operation, something like that. Oh, jeez. He also mentioned that the goals of this special combat operation will be achieved. Okay, I have some of the vibes about it, but yeah, you know. Yeah, just a couple of words about Donny, and it's only because he's touching Ukrainian topic once again, putting everything, mixing whatsoever, accusing sleepy Joe Biden, who spent all of his time and our country's money giving everything to P.T. Barnum Zelensky of Ukraine. Hundreds of billions of dollars worth. Ooh, once again, Ukraine is guilty. For what? For the war in Iran? What is happening? Donny and his White House, Well, after all, I think that they don't have like the general strategy of how to act in Iran. It was a big, fast intimidation, an attempt to kick the regime out during the first few days, and initially it was successful. And I also say that like Khamenei is gone, military command is gone, but what is next? No one knows, guys. No one knows, absolutely. Yeah, we might speculate about this war, how it might end, what is the future of Iran, whatsoever, but no one may tell you for sure. This is total chaos. For now, just partially controlled chaos, but I think it is getting out of control. We'll see. I hope I am wrong, but yeah, I think I'll record one more video separately dedicated to Iranian topic once again, because this thing is important. Yeah, this video I want to dedicate mainly to the events which are connected to Ukraine, and as we see, it's interconnected. So statements of Donald Trump, Iranian war, Ukraine, everything is here. That's why I'm still quoting Donny. And yeah, sorry about it, because I don't really want to speak about this guy on this channel at least, but I have another channel, and there maybe I'm gonna tell more about his personality and general politics of the White House. And one more evidence why those events are interconnected. Those are the remains of the Russian Giran drone, the analog of Shahid 136. Allegedly, this video was filmed in Dubai today. Yeah, definitely I heard some of the not Ukrainian and not Russian voice on the background, but still with this video I cannot confirm by 100% that it was filmed in Dubai. Giran 2, as you may see, so Russia supplies Shahid drones to Iran nowadays because they have bigger production than Iran itself. Well, one more thing, Russian supplied Yakovlev 130 was shut down by Israeli F-35I. The IDF states that Israeli Air Force F-35I idea shot down an Iranian combat training Yakovlev 130 in the skies of Tehran. If confirmed, this would be the world's first instance of the manned flying aircraft being downed by F-35. Well, yeah. After all, this Yakovlev cannot compete, yeah, despite those Hollywood movies like Maverick, Top Gun, whatsoever. No, this is the easy prey for F-35, absolutely. This is nothing burger. F-35 is arguably the best fighter jet out there in the world. Of course, against the training plane, it wins. I would say it had no chance to lose. Also, Israel destroyed some of the Russian-supplied helicopters like Mi-17 over here in one of the airfields. So Russia and Iran, they cooperated in drone technology, aviation, but still Iran couldn't reach the level of at least Israeli army because that system is freaking corrupt of Iranian autocracy. Wow, this is interesting. For the first time, Ukraine used those combat unmanned vehicles to shut down Russian drones in the skies, you see? It has a special aiming device, this robot, and it fires precisely just several of the shots. Yeah, this video was filmed just as a reference to show what kind of the drone did it. And this aiming video was filmed in different occasion, not connected to this specific case. Ukraine also developed a new type of the mining robot. This one may carry up to 20 of TM62 anti-tank mines, and those are really powerful. Ukraine constantly improves its combat capabilities, also UGVs, unmanned ground vehicles. There are lots of those in Ukrainian army. Well guys, I hope I will have some of the stamina to record one more video today because I haven't slept the last night. I just have some of the insomnia. Yeah, that's terrible. But anyways, I'm gonna keep you updated, and thank you so much for your kind support on Patreon and also membership of the channel. You're just making this content possible. Thank you so much, guys. You're the best. And if you don't have this opportunity to support me on Patreon or membership, you may press your like to this video and subscribe for the channel. Don't forget it, because that is how you propel the channel in algorithms. We have so many likes, hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of the likes and way more subscribers than before. Yeah, for the last months it was something outstanding, definitely. It's cool, it's great, guys. You're awesome. And I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.